Good evening, everyone. Shyla Webb here. Tonight is week 8 with our live mindfulness session, and it's actually our last one. Ryan and I committed to doing 8 weeks of live mindfulness training for you educators that are out there, whether you're an administrator, teacher, specialist, paraprofessional. We hope that you've enjoyed this series. As always, we welcome any feedback, questions that you have along the way, and would love to hear what you thought of this series. And if this is something you'd be interested in more of, because we certainly, if there is a want and a need for it, we definitely will show you. If you're here with me tonight, please say hi, or if you're catching the replay, as always, please mention replay. So you might notice my voice is a little bit quieter tonight. One of my children had a hard time falling asleep and I think is still up. So I tried to sneak away to do this, and I'm trying to be a little bit more quiet so that he doesn't hear me upstairs. But we might have a guest, I guess, during this session. So just roll along with me. Life happens, doesn't it? And any of these mindfulness sessions really are family friendly as well as kid friendly or pet friendly. So I invite you to bring in other people or even show the replay. We'll have them here in the Facebook group, as well as we are uploading them live not live, but onto YouTube for the replay as well, because I know some administrators have requested that they can play them out in their buildings. So thanks again for being here with us throughout this mindfulness series. I hope that you've enjoyed the live sessions, or at least going back to catch the replays. So for tonight's session, it's on making decisions. We make decisions all day long, don't we? From just getting out of bed, right away in the morning, we have to make that decision. Making our bed, maybe choosing the toothpaste that we're going to use, the breakfast we're going to have, down to lunch. Those are just simple decisions that we are making, but we are making them all day long. And I just wonder, how much thought do you give to those decisions? The little ones, I don't give much thought. I just kind of go into autopilot and I go and do the next thing, right? And I make that decision and I move on to the next one. But tonight's session isn't about those little decisions. It is really about the bigger decisions. I know in education, this is the time of the year that here in the United States, many administrators are making decisions about staffing. Some of those decisions probably have already been made. I guess this is mid-March, towards the end of March. So a lot of staffing decisions have been made, but maybe haven't been announced yet. So there's some decisions about how are we going to announce that? How are we going to roll that out to the building? Then if you're a teacher or paraprofessional, you might be making some decisions about where your placement's going to be. What kind of job do you want? I know that with the stress of COVID, there's been many people even talking about leaving the industry. And I really hope that that doesn't happen. We need you, we need educators in this field, and we need you to keep going, as stressful as it is. Hopefully little things like the live mindfulness sessions can help you deal with that stress along the way. But I recently heard Les Brown talk the other day, last week, and he had quoted the president of Procter & Gamble, and it was about decisions. So I went back and watched the replay a few times and wrote it down. But the quote is, "A tough decision is not a tough decision because we don't know the answer. A tough decision is a tough decision because we know the answer. But most of us are not willing to exercise the courage to do what we know." Now, I think there is some truth to that, right? There's something that we know that just maybe there's a decision that we need to make and we don't have the courage to make it. Or sometimes we know that something's off about maybe a certain circumstance in our lives, whether it's a job that we're in, whether it's how we feel around a certain friend or a family member, or maybe it's something about a relationship, whether to get into a serious relationship or to leave a relationship we've been in. But these are some really tough decisions. You know, is this job right for us? And we think about, a lot of times we go into the exercise, the pros and the cons. We have a lot of decision matrices, right? How to make some decisions, writing out everything that's good, the bad, the cause and effect of making decisions. But I want to talk about how to make decisions the mindful way. And with mindfulness practice, we really start making that mind-body connection. And we have a regular mindfulness practice, that deeper connection between the mind and the body are constantly in play. And when we become really present, we start to feel what's really there. So it's not always just knowing through our mind, but it's also that feeling. And when I talk about that feeling, I don't mean that fluffy stuff. I mean just really feeling with our heart. I don't know if you've ever read articles, but our heart is considered the second brain. But then other research or medical staff will talk about the gut as being the second brain. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So we have a bunch of neural networks that are neurons that are in our heart as well as our gut. There's a ton of nerve endings, and they actually send a lot of signals throughout our body into our brain. And so that's why sometimes we can often feel what other people are feeling. That's the information that we're getting from our heart. We might feel extreme sadness, something might pull on our heartstrings, or we just might feel a little bit of warmth or care and concern for someone, and sometimes we don't even know why. I want to tell you that a lot of that information comes from the heart center. Now, the gut, vagal nervous system, that's where that ends. And the reason why we often have that gut feeling, or if you've ever walked into a room and all of a sudden you feel like you can cut the tension with a knife, or the elephants in the room, and you just have this gut feeling something is off, that's because of the host of nerve centers that's at the end of that vagal nervous system. It's actually taking in a ton of information, as well as it's extending out a lot of information. So whether we say it or not, we're constantly in exchange of information, even as simple as being on this video feed. We are still exchanging that information. And so that's why when one person is happy, we can actually affect many others that are happy. If one person is down, it can actually take down the entire group. And that's that mirror neurons, and that's that constant bodily exchange of information of our energies and just how we're feeling, but we're also feeling what other people are feeling without even having to talk about that. Okay, so when I talk about making tough decisions, a lot of my clients come to me typically for stress management and just overwhelming stress and just not really sure what's happening in their life, how to bring that back to center. And there's some tough decisions. What they discover is there's some tough decisions that they want to make or they feel like they need to make. And how I help guide them is really to making sure that the mind, the heart, and the gut are in alignment. So for tonight's practice, that's what I'm going to give you. Now, I want to let you know that this isn't an easy practice. So this isn't something that you'll be able to do one time and usually be in tune unless you've been working on some mind-body connection for quite some time. Otherwise, this probably is a practice that you're going to have to try over and over again to get clear. But usually people that are relatively in tune, and a lot of educators really are, to be honest with you, in tune with their systems. People feel that they are just much clearer and much more certain and confident when making these tougher decisions. So I invite you to go ahead and gently close your eyes for this practice. As always, we start out by connecting with our breath. Filling up the belly, feeling the coolness of every inhale and the warmth of the exhale. If you notice you're feeling any tension in your face, squeezing your eyelids, pressing your tongue up against the roof of your mouth, I invite you to release any tension that you might have. A lot of people find it easy to release that tension with every exhale, just allowing it to go. So in order to help you tune into your body, I want you to just say a true statement. So for instance, my name is Shyla, and there's no arguing that. I don't have a nickname. Well, at least not that I know of, but I don't have, my name is Shyla. I mean, it's just no one calls me Shy, or other people might, but that's not my true name to me. And so you're going to pick a statement that is just absolutely true and there's nothing arguing it. So it might be, I have a white car, or my child's name is, just something, I was born in this month. Anything that is true that just really is undeniable. And I want you to just say that statement to yourself over and over. So in my mind, I'm just going to say, my name is Shyla, my name is Shyla, my name is Shyla. And I'm going to breathe with that. So as you're saying your statement of truth, most likely you are feeling a sense of calm or peace. You might be wondering why I'm having you say this, but don't wonder. Just go ahead and say this statement over and over. And you can feel just harmony. A lot of times people say they just feel harmonious come into their system. They feel at peace. It makes sense. It just feels easy. Spend a little bit more time saying your truth statement. Okay. Now I want you to come up with a statement that's a complete lie about yourself. And it can be anything silly. It can be something serious. But something that is an absolute lie. It can be simple statements too, about like, my car is black when it's really not, or make up a different name for yourself or for your child, or lie about your birth date. I want you to pick that one statement and I want you to say that lie over and over and over. All right, so you may have noticed your system changed with that lie. Hopefully you did notice that. For me, I actually felt my breathing alter. I felt nervousness. I felt tightness in my throat and the sudden need to swallow or kind of gulp. And so what I wanted this exercise, and you can keep your eyes closed for this, because we're going to go into the next step of this mindfulness activity, but what is important for you to feel is when we speak a true statement, a lot of times we'll feel complete ease through our system. Then when we say a non-true statement, we'll feel just some inner chaos is what I like to call it, or just some imbalance that we're going to feel. So for me, I actually felt agitation, and like I said, the lump in my throat, and my heart was racing, and my breath even just altered. And I allowed it to for the purpose of this activity, and hopefully it even showed up on video. we can pull ourselves right out of that through breath work, but I didn't want you to do that through this activity. Okay, so the importance of that is when we are tuning in, the most common question that I get asked is, how do I know the difference between what my brain says, my heart says, and what my gut says? And how we know is through that feeling of the activity that I just had you do. When we say our truth statement over and over and over, it feels at ease, we're peaceful, it's easygoing. When we say our lie, you'll actually feel, you should feel some inner chaos. And if you don't, it might mean that you just have to take more time with this activity. And you might even need to do some more work with the brain-body connection. I'm always here available, and Ryan always is to help you, further sharpen the skill. So don't sweat it if you don't get it tonight, because this is a little bit, like I said, this isn't a mindfulness activity that we need to sometimes practice more and more. But so for this next part, I want you to take a decision that you need to make. And I want you to say it in a decision, in a statement format. So let's see. Let's say I'm going to find a new job, and I'm going to take a job at a middle school in town. And so my statement might be, I'm going to work at the new middle school. And that's what you're going to say over and over. Okay. So I'm going to work at the new middle school, and I want you to listen to your system. Now you're going to say whatever statement is true for you. So after we've spent some time with that statement, now what we want to do is we want to assess, what do I think about working there? So I just use this as an example, but take your decision that you need to make in statement form and start asking, what do I think about this? And in this activity, we're going to practice non-judgment, which is a large practice of mindfulness, but it's about choosing or just allowing your mind to get all of its thoughts out. It's almost like a garbage dump. And I just want you to allow all of the thoughts to flow out, just kind of babble on, whatever they may be, without any judgment. And you're just going to listen to your thoughts. Just a reminder not to analyze any of those thoughts. Allow them to come in, observe them. And just listen to them without any judgment. So after we've given our mind some time to just thought dump, we're going to connect back to our breath. Feeling the inhale fill up our bellies, and our bellies fall with every exhale. Now I want you to take that decision statement and I want you to ask, how do I feel about this? This is more checking in with heart center. So we might feel a sense of warmth in this area. People report a sense of like pulling, tugging, something. Decision might be pulling at our heartstrings. Compassion may come up in this area. Any and all emotions may rise. Again, this isn't without, we want to observe this without judgment. And we don't want to get into analyzing. We're just going to recognize that, yes, we're feeling this, or this is what's coming up when I think of making this decision. Just allow it to pass on through, giving space for the next thing, next part in our heart area to give us information. If your mind wants to take over, just come back and say, nope, what am I feeling? Some people find it helpful to put their hand on their heart. Sometimes we become so numb to situations we don't know what we're feeling, and that's okay too. Again, that's something to observe and just let it be. Connecting back with your breathing. Coming down into your gut. Just wanting to ask, what does my gut say about the situation? And allow anything that comes forward to be the truth. We want to observe any information that arises, again, without judgment or beginning to analyze them. Just take note with non-judgment. You hear your thoughts competing with information coming from your gut area, the vagal nervous system. Just connect back into the gut and ask, what does my gut say about this? And just trust the information that comes forward. Connecting back with your breathing. To breathe in gratitude for giving yourself this time and space to focus on a tougher decision. Allowing all information to come out and information you don't need to leave with every exhale. So any new information, allow it to flow in with the inhale. And anything you don't need to leave with an exhale. When you're ready, I want you to slowly open your eyes. Remember, we want to take time pulling out of this because sudden light can agitate our systems and stick with us throughout the day. All right. So what we're looking for with this activity is we're really looking to see what does the heart say, or what does the head say, the heart say, and the gut say. And we want to look to see which feelings or information that came up is in alignment. A lot of people, ideally, when making a decision, you will have all three in alignment, and we know that that can't always happen. But most of the time when I'm guiding and working with clients, we usually, I help them land on what their heart and their gut say. And typically when they follow those two sources, they go into making a decision, a very sound decision, and they're very happy that they were able to make that decision. So I hope that tonight's practice helps you feel a little bit settled, because I know that so many people have some tough decisions to make at this time of the year. In my area, a lot of people are putting their houses up for sale and getting ready to move to. So it might be some of those bigger decisions, whether it's a job placement, new home, relationship decision, maybe a financial decision that you have to make, or a family situation. I just invite you to use this practice. Really tune into what your mind is saying as well as what your body is saying surrounding that decision. And hopefully your heart and your gut will help you land on the right decision that is best for you. Thank you so much for joining me with tonight's practice, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a good evening.